So marijuana is the drug that we've got most of the research about. Marijuana is a Class C drug, but Class A drugs like ice, P, Class A drugs are by and large, we accept, are going to be damaging to the brain in some way right across your lifespan. I mean, there's varying degrees and how synthetic in comparison to how natural. What we want you to understand in this segment is what happens to the teenage brain when it takes on marijuana, because that we do have solid, clear information about. Again, it's similar to the alcohol in that there's no evidence that marijuana is really that damaging to adult brains. All of the research that we've got about the harm that marijuana does is associated with the brain under the age of 18. So, two things we know for sure about the effects of marijuana is it's able to trigger schizophrenia under the age of 18. You have to have the genes for schizophrenia first. It can't make you catch schizophrenia, but if you've got the genes and the predisposition, then the active ingredient in marijuana, THC, is able to trigger the development of that schizophrenia. Whereas by saying of having marijuana at 19 is then not associated with that same risk. It's about the combination of having the genes and being at that susceptible stage of development, 18 and under. Having marijuana is in lots of ways like playing Russian roulette if you've got the genes for schizophrenia and you're under the age of 18. However, that's the one thing we know that only affects people with genes for schizophrenia. Unless you've had your genome mapped, you don't know whether you've got those genes or not. But the other one we know affects everybody, and that is that teenagers that smoke marijuana on average lose 8 IQ points. Now that means when you smoke marijuana as an adult, you don't lose IQ points. The next day your IQ is the same as it was the day before, and we see that over the long period of time. So again, the adult brain is constructed enough to have protective elements going on that it's not as damaged. But in the teenage brain, all those elements are being used on the rebuild, so it's much more susceptible to damage. So smoking marijuana as a teenager leads on average to a reduction of 8 points in your IQ. So the average is 100. So 100, IQ of 100 puts you in the middle of the middle class, and there's a bottom and top class. Then move at losing 8 points and going to an IQ of 92 would move you from the middle of the middle class to the sort of the top third of the bottom class. So 8 points is quite a significant drop. And again, that doesn't happen if marijuana use is delayed until the age of 18. So just be aware, taking marijuana as a teenager is impacting on the potential of what you'll have for the rest of your life.